Welcome back to another coffee break.
Thanks for dialing in, everyone. We just had a wonderful episode.
What a sweetheart.
Yeah, with none other than Hendri, the well-known World Coffee Events representative. He goes around all over the place helping national competitors, national competitions actually, not competitors, but the competitions to actually set up and run and training all of the judges.
Yeah.
Did you get some good insights into what it actually takes to become a judge or what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I've learned a lot about it in the last month or so as I've been diving. No, it's great. I've loved finding out more about it and kind of understanding how it all plays out. He was great. I love that not only is he a judge, but I'm going to say judges the judges. Well, he trains them. The judge the judges has a nice kind of ring to it. Yeah, I thought it was really insightful. I loved one of the biggest things I've learned over the past few weeks, especially from Dale, from Hendri today, is more the fact of not putting the two against one another, where the judge is seen as the evil, antagonist, and they're the hero coming through as the barista comp. But it's there to help the industry, and the judges are there to support the competitors. These competitors have we heard from Dale 12 weeks of just insane preparation and work.
9 years plus 12 weeks.
Yeah. 9 years plus 12 weeks. Exactly. 10 years of his life. So to just be dismissive and harsh on someone just isn't fair and doesn't help the industry as well. So it's nice seeing that. And I feel like you definitely see that a little bit. I know there can be some natural to be competitive in these competitions, but I also see a lot of really beautiful friendships and community building stuff around them as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the competitions, most people are competitive with themselves about it. And the judges are really there just to kind of capture what you put forward as a competitor. But I agree. I think I tried to ask Hendri a couple of little pointed questions about why people shouldn't be judges, and he was very polite in his responses. But I think that the biggest time when you should not be a judge is if you think that you are more important than the competitor going up on stage. It's not an us versus them, or that you're more qualified. It's different skill sets, as he said. And, the reality is that we are trying to all further the coffee industry. It can be a little scary as a judge even. I've felt huge pressure at times where you get up on stage and it's I've got to do this job really well. There's a lot of multitasking, your head's going in lots of different directions and you've got to capture things. And there's a head judge who's watching you, and then we didn't kind of get into the detail of this, but at the national and the world levels, there are roles in the organization called comment calibrators. So we come off stage having judged a competitor. The first thing that we really have to make sure is that all of the boxes with scores have numbers in them, right? So we've allocated a score at the moment that we walk off stage. Then we kind of go back and we've had some maybe shorthand notes. We unpack what are those scores. Why did they occur? So where did they hit the mark, and where was there something that was missing according to the rules and regs? And then once you've finished with your score sheet, as the pool of judges go through and they calibrate. So the head judge knows everyone's scores and will go, all right, Rowan, everyone else here has scored a 4 for that taste experience.
You gave it
2.
Oh, a 2.
Tell us why.
Yeah.
And that's where your comments have to really help unpack that in a rule-based way, and they'll kind of build that context. But then,
do people get kicked out if they're well off the calibrating each time and that kind of thing?
Yeah, if they're consistently really far out of scope and then don't have rule-based comments to kind of back it up. Sometimes there are reasons, right? Maybe
someone else missed it, or
an extraction choked and one side of the espresso kind of flowed very differently to the other side. So even though you and I got the same shot, one side is going to taste very different to the other, right? But you have to have those reasons. They'll check with the tech. And then you hand in your score sheet, and there are people backstage who will basically read through every line, every comment that you make and go, does this match with the score? Oh, Ben, you said good balance of sweetness and acidity, but you've given a 4, and the word attached to a 4 is very good. So you need to change that, your word.
Right.
You need to and they'll put you'll get your score sheet back with all these sticky notes saying not rule-based, change this, wrong wording, and you have to go back and really make it very rigorous and thorough.
I found it very confusing when I first started hearing about like, oh, if one person scores off, they tell them, no, it shouldn't be that, it needs to be this. I'm like, then why the hell are they giving a score? Why are they there? Because every other competition that you look at, like growing up, is people sit there with a scorecard and hold up a number, and it's based on what that person thinks. 4, and then someone's like, screw that, I love that, 6. You know, like that kind of thing. Whereas this is like, you guys are more like, need to be like robots that are calibrated, that are basically like intaking information, analyzing it, and the whole calibration is to you know, bring out the most objective answer, not a subjective answer from it, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting. I don't know how well it would go. I think people have proposed that idea of moving to like live. They've tried some live scoring and stuff in the past, which is pretty interesting. But I think it kind of makes sense if you and I get an extraction from the same portafilter, it's the same coffee, and it's like split on both sides. Unless there's something radically different, we should be within a range of each other, right? Because we are looking at trying to calibrate on what the quality is.
What do you do in that instance if you're shot, like you were saying, like if you have the 2 portafilter spouts and it comes out one and then the other? Because sometimes I would say that has nothing to do with you doing anything wrong. Sometimes I think that water, for whatever reason, or the coffee can start going down one side. And because that start of an extraction is thicker, that it follows that path more readily. And then if it doesn't split off, it needs to get more liquid running through before it splits, and then it's all out. But that might not be anything to do with the actual barista.
You're right. I mean,
because it's underneath, it's a basket, and then there's a hole, and then there's 2 spouts. So it should have nothing to do with where it's forming from the basket.
I think that sometimes it can happen if the basket extraction is really uneven, you know, and it's pouring out one side and it's combining, but it's like running down one internal part of the portafilter. But yeah, I think it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
Right.
I find it often happens with shots that are maybe a little tight.
Yeah. When the whole shot chokes and you kind of just don't have much liquid.
And that's where it's like, it's that more viscous, thick, and it just doesn't break as it hits that middle part of the spout.
Yeah. It was good kind of unpacking that. As I said, I've done judging for a long time at a national and at a world level, and I just think it's such an incredible opportunity to learn and grow and to kind of give back into the community as well.
Although I want to work it out so that you get at least flown over covered for.
It's a massive investment.
Yeah, just for also when you're giving so much and volunteering. Like, I mean, I guess that's it, volunteering, but it's
not just volunteering your time; it's volunteering your money,
your own money. You're donating to the greater cause of coffee, as it would be. Hey, as we've been chatting and talking about all these nice expensive coffees, I had a little question. I think it was on last week's coffee break. If you can think back to that week ago when we spoke, which definitely wasn't 10 minutes ago here in the studio, we were talking about, I believe it was a thing called Portal, and it was about analyzing the TDS basically of a live shot, so that you can, we were talking about maybe it's for expensive coffees, so it can tell you if you've done a good job of extracting it, or help give you more data around if you've done it well. And it was making me think about like how many times there's, like at Proud Mary, that they've got a coffee on the menu that's like $250 for one coffee. And I'm like, how many times has that been like just brewed poorly and someone's paid $250 and they've got it badly made? And then it made me think about like these wild coffees, like the Esmeralda, like the $30,000 a kilo.
Yeah.
How do you even begin to start wanting to like dial that in for your recipe of whatever you're doing, of getting the grind size right? Like each bean must be worth like a couple $100.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the first thing you do is don't make espresso from it.
Yes.
Like the variables of that are just so uncontrollable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree.
There are people who are better, like obviously watching Simon Guthrie when we had him in the other week. He was making V60s and it's all just like, he's like, oh, I know this grinder, this number, this thing, like blah, 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 and kind of dialed in real quickly. But still, I mean, even off his first one, I would have said that, just because it's going off, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe it's a little coarse. Yep. But when you're looking at $1,000 coffee that you're making.
Yeah. I think...
Have you ever yourself brewed like one of these wildly expensive coffees?
I think I've brewed coffee that's probably in the like few $100 a kilo
Yeah.
kind of range,
Yep.
but nothing as expensive as that.
Yeah.
I've had some of them served to me.
Yeah.
And in fact, I went up and had some pretty special coffee was shared with me at Beta Coffee, Chris Mabry's cafe, a while back. And that was kind of an interesting experience because...
Oh, wait, you went?
I went.
I mean, well, we're going to hear about that.
I went to Beta Coffee up in Sydney, a newly opened kind of store, and we obviously featured Chris on the podcast the week that I couldn't join us.
Yeah.
So then I wanted to...
Oh, is that why you went? You were like, this is
it.
crap, I'm heading to Beta.
That's it. I got to actually one-up them and actually taste the coffee. But that was kind of a good example of a place where there were some incredibly expensive coffees up on the shelf that he was brewing, but I felt a lot of confidence in ordering them because I knew that he was managing the storage, the extraction, the water, like everything was really well lined up. And for a very expensive coffee, you could have any one of those go awry and suddenly, the value of it goes right down. So I think that's another big thing is that if it's just a regular cafe that's serving out very expensive coffee, I'll often be quite hesitant because I know that they've got a lot of other priorities. And so I think there's maybe this little mini hot take is that there's a lot of room there for cafes they need to invest in building trust around those really high-end coffees and then deliver it, right? Because this came back and bit people in the butt when the Cup of Excellence started becoming really popular like 8 or 9 years ago. And you would find Cup of Excellence coffees on menus and you'd be like, oh, wow, it's like $13. It was a big deal at that time. And you're like, all right, I'll splurge, I'll get it. And you got it and you're like, it's like tastes a little bit old and maybe a little flat and I don't know. And then you just wouldn't order them again.
Yep.
And so I think you kind of you lose that trust.
Just on the opposite side, I guess, like specifically to do with whiskey, somewhere around here, we're in Melbourne, Australia, but there was a cool like switch up on a bank, like an old bank that's been changed into like they still use the vaults, but people can pay to have their really high-end whiskey. We're talking like $60,000 a bottle kind of level. And then, but it's that thing of like the person that is there knows every part of that experience and how it's made. Yep. And you know that it's going to be prepared and given to you the right way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like a coffee equivalent where like people could buy lots but then get stored correctly in like freezer things. And you're like, oh, I'm just going to go to my favorite like blah. And
my freezer vault.
Yeah, come down. Seriously. But then they grind it and prepare it properly. And you know that the person giving it to you isn't going to cook it,
Yep.
Well, one of the interesting things that I remember we were chatting about, this is also from Chris Mabry. These guys heard the episode, Bar 9, heard that episode.
In LA.
Yeah, in LA, and they actually called me and I had a chat with them about what they were doing. And one of the cool things was, and granted, I haven't tasted the coffee, so I don't know at what level it is, but from them saying it, they're like, it is going to be better than most espressos that you're getting. It is pure espresso. It's not a concentrate. It's bottled. They've got 180-day shelf life on it when refrigerated, that it's like at its peak. But their kind of thought, or the interesting thing was, if you are using really expensive coffees, and sorry if I didn't explain it, Bar 9 pre-batches espresso using a big machine that they've invented, and then you're just meant to be able to pour it out of the bottle, add your milk, do whatever, and it should be as good as espresso. And I'm like, that's great if it's kind of more like wine there, because the person who has the coffee can brew it in the way that they want to represent it, bottle it, and then you just have to drink it and be like, I like that or don't like that. Whereas there's always been a weird thing with coffee where it's like a winery sending you a bag of grapes and being like, now go make the wine.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a cool way of looking at it, or representing more expensive coffees as well, where you're like,
I think it's going to be a space that we see more and more experimentation in, because it's the same thing is that, the more expensive something becomes, the more risk there is if it doesn't go right. So, yeah. But look, it was, I mean, we kind of veered off our conversation here, but I think the podcast with Hendri was great. We kind of got some good insights into the pathway to becoming a judge. Were there any outstanding questions that you had that you were thinking you would have liked answered?
I did want to know more about the relationship between the judge and the competitors, and like even asking the questions, I was like, what rules do you guys have imposed on yourself that you have to follow? Like, can you fraternize with the competitors while you're there? I know that you can't judge your only country representation.
Yep.
So what are the rules with like?
Yeah, they're very focused on making sure that everything is transparent and neutral.
Mhm.
Right. So whenever we turn up at a competition, we have to kind of sign conflicts of interest. So if we directly work with someone, or we've seen a run through, or we've coached someone or something like that, we have to kind of write down their name, and we'll never be rostered on to a panel with them.
Okay, that's good.
And sometimes that actually means that you don't judge a lot, because the panel that is judging like one competitor, like say for me, the panel that is judging the Australian competitor will also be judging 5 other people, right? They'll have a group of 6.
panel.
That same panel will
Okay.
generally stay together for like a stretch.
Oh, so
and
you
I
just
won't
miss
be able to
all
be.
of them.
I'll miss all of them,
Ah.
and they do try and kind of moderate it a bit. But sometimes it just means like if you've got a lot of conflicts of interest, there's a chance you won't be judging. It also means that I haven't judged that many world finals, because often there is an Australian in the world final or the semis, and so that you just kind of there's one panel judging that whole set of people for consistency.
Cursed by greatness.
Cursed by greatness. But that's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh wait, can you hear that?
Oh yeah, I think we've got a call coming in.
Oh, it's a live cross straight from our reporter in the field. It's Ollie with the weekly market recap.
Hey gents, as always, it's wonderful to hear from you. Today is Wednesday, the 24th of September, and we find the market at 350.15. This is a huge drop from 420 levels that we were seeing as recently as last week. So what is going on? Well, the tariffs remain in place in the US, and US roasters are still drawing on those certified warehouse stocks in the US, and we're seeing bag levels at 654,000 bags, which is still on the low side. On top of this, Brazilian farmers are not selling all of their stocks onto the market. They're not liking the price at the moment. It's not causing them to sell, so they are holding back. But the key thing we're seeing is that the weather conditions in Brazil and Central America have been excellent. And by this, I mean there's been really good rain, moisture levels are key, and key producing regions in Brazil are getting good weather, and we're even seeing weather will continue into the next week. This has therefore caused some of the speculators who had built up a long position to liquidate that position, get out, and take advantage of those prices. So that's why we see the market down at these levels. Tomorrow, we are likely to see a slight retracement, and a weak US dollar and interest rates could cause the market to go back up. So from my perspective, reach out to your suppliers, to your networks, get updated pricing, take advantage of any window of opportunity that we get, and always take risk off the table. And that's it from me. Back to you in the studio, and of course, it's just coffee.
Thanks, Ollie. What a week it's been. Oh my
Crazy.
God. I did not, that third point about the market, he said, I did not see that coming.
Stunning
Yeah,
insights,
crazy.
as always.
Thanks, Ollie.
Elucidating our view. Hey, I've got a little bit of fresh coffee news for you. Let's dive
Freshly
into
brewed
it.
coffee news.
Coming in hot. In my browsing of current things coming in off the press, a couple of stories I thought you might be interested in.
Please tell me.
One's kind of, maybe not as directly engaging, but could be interesting as things go along, is that there's been a fair bit of interest in the new, well, not new, but in the space of regenerative agriculture. And so this is a farming practice that kind of takes things beyond kind of just not drawing back and degrading the environment. That might be something like organic or something like that, but more about like adding back into the soil. So looking at biodiversity, soil health, water stewardship they talk about as well. And really being a net positive that's coming back in. And so there's been some increasing interest in that. Rainforest Alliance, the certification program or certification body, has actually announced a new certification.
Is that the little frog?
That is the little frog.
Yeah.
Yep. They also absorbed in another certification, UTZ.
Oh, the UTZ.
UTZ.
Oh, you have to get UTZ.
Well, now you have to get rainforest
I'm
alliance.
certified. I don't. Is it German?
Sure, let's go with that.
I got to get my UTZ.
He needs his UTZ. Have you got
B
the
Corp
UTZ?
and UTZ certified.
B Corp. Well, Rainforest Alliance have launched regenerative agriculture cert, which I think is kind of interesting because
Coffee farms?
for coffee farms.
So for the coffee farm to be regenerative.
Yes.
So they're
correct.
giving back and not only just being a coffee farm, but they're making the land better than when they started.
Yeah. So I'd imagine it'll be probably a combination of like on the ground assessment and also self-reporting.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the certifications tend to work. And yeah, I think it'll be interesting because they're looking at broader practices around land management and farming that's going to affect climate resilience. It's going to affect water management, waste management, but also like the health of that biodiversity.
It's also probably going to lead to better coffee if they're taking that good of a care of the land. Because I know Zentfeld's up in Byron Bay. I know they had a big like kind of skew towards really taking care of the land there and giving back to it.
So the two things that kind of interest me with this are that there's been no standardized term or framework for assessing this. So there's obviously, whenever there's a non-standardized thing, there's a risk of greenwashing.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone's saying, oh yeah, I really love the land. I do regenerative stuff. So this kind of at least sets maybe a base standard, which is kind of cool. The second thing though that I'm interested to find out is I don't know how much extra it costs or what the financial and requirements for a producer to get this, right?
Because that's something that's always I've found a bit iffy, where it's like, even with like organic certified, and it's like, especially for smaller farmers, it costs the same no matter how big your farm is.
Yep.
So even if you're like a tiny little one, you've got to pay the same like $20,000 certification as some giant multi-million-dollar farm.
Yeah.
Which just seems ridiculous. And the person's like, we are organic, but I don't want to pay 20 grand because I only make 60 grand a year.
And the administrative requirements of some of these certs mean that they're impossible for them to get, because they'll be like, how many trees do you have on your farm? What variety are they? What's the yield per tree?
Come on.
It's like, who's keeping track of this and of like all the workings throughout the year? It's probably good practice, but it takes time and energy and therefore money.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see. I'm kind of glad that there's some movement in this place. There's also another crew, Global Coffee Platform, who have released kind of almost a dictionary of terms around regenerative agriculture, which is another good kind of movement in standardizing the conversation.
Oh.
So that was kind of a fun little bit of news.
Hot take, but I'm for regenerative agriculture.
I knew you would be. You look like that kind of guy. Look at how green your jacket is.
I'm regenerating my own clothing. Well, no, come on, head out of the gutter, Ben. Let's keep going.
How can my head be in the gutter with that one? Regenerating his own clothing. I don't know how. Let's not unpack it.
Think about it.
I'm so innocent. I'm so
Think about it.
Okay.
And that was a green take.
We're gonna move.
Speaking of greenwashing, let's get in the tub.
No.
Oh, no. Have you got more news?
Well, one other thing. It's not so happy news, but they've done a new study that's kind of coming out of the UK. I think it's the University of Birmingham have announced that they've found elevated rates of microplastics in hot takeaway coffees. And so this is out of takeaway cups, obviously, and it's hot specifically.
Yep.
So I think the reading is that basically the heat within the beverage and that container are dissolving more microplastics.
And it's a lot. And if you don't know, the paper cups that you're drinking out of, the disposable paper cups in your cafe, they actually aligned with a plastic sheet. Because obviously the paper... there's a few different ones, but most of the time it's plastic, so that obviously the paper doesn't degrade with hot liquids in it. So it's basically just drinking your coffee out of a plastic bag.
Not so great.
Yeah. And that's the same with like cans as well, like Coke cans, aluminium. It's just plastic on the inside or canned food.
Yeah.
Unless it's like BPA free, there's lots of microplastics in there. Although I did see that there was some vegetable that they were doing studies that maybe eating it will help take the microplastics out of your body.
It absorbs it through?
Yeah. You keep talking and let me see if I can find...
Okay. Vegetables to absorb microplastics. I mean, there are lots of different linings that you can get in hot coffee cups and cornstarch PLAs and all kinds of other different things. I'm not a specialist in those. Maybe we need to get someone in. Or reusable cups. Go for your keep cups and your your stainless steel cups, or just sit and have a moment with a dine-in cup of coffee in beautiful ceramic.
Cafes and different companies that like enabling you to bring your own cups.
Yep.
And cleaning them on spot and doing that. Like, I've forgotten what they're called. Where they like, you can take the cups home and then bring them back to like
Are
clean.
they your own cups or are they like a standardized cup?
Both.
Yeah, there's lots of different models around the world. And we're interested in doing some more episodes on sustainability. So if you've got some interesting angles for us to research, please drop us a line. But on that front, yeah, there are some that are done by, I think that the Husky crew have done a cup that's like a resin and I think they're chaff-based kind of presses. Yep. And they've got some now that are part of like a returning cycle where they've got like a QR code on them. And
Market Lane have a separate one as well.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the original people from Keep Cup or something that went and started that.
I got some in Monmouth in London. That roastery kind of there and cafes, they've got like returnable kind of ones. So you just bring back the Keep Cup and they just like give you a new one.
Here's the problem to solve if any of the listeners have it or anyone has it. I want to use me as a person, I will use my reusable cup whenever I can. The problem is 90% of the time I end up out somewhere and I'm like, I want a coffee. And I wasn't thinking about that when I left my house. And, I don't carry a bag around to do anything. So I don't just carry a cup around with me at all points. So I don't know how to solve that problem. I just have it in. Just have it in the shop. Solved it. Don't worry, guys.
Have it in.
Wait.
Just
Before we go, I just wanted to bring up, Hendri dropped we were making jokes about how Rowan really wants to see a camel being milked. And Hendri goes, cockroach milk though.
Oh, yeah.
Let's chat about
we're back.
it.
We've got to talk about it. We've got to talk about it.
No, we don't. I think we're out of time. Are we out of time?
Do you reckon we can get cockroach milk? I would golden brown the first cockroach milk latte. That's got to be at least a 10 milli right there.
I was chatting to, there's so many crazy different products that are made by like, kind of yucky stuff. Like my brother's girlfriend swears by this snail mucus moisturizer that is like sweeping the Korean kind of cosmetic scene.
Oh. And
apparently it like swears by it and like it's got incredible reviews, but like, wow. Is that just the Western world's little
there's a lot of things you
palate?
Can do. Whether you should do them is a whole nother question.
Here we go. So
times
cockroach milk may sound gross, but it's derived from this milk derived from these insects could be the new superfood researchers found. Cockroach milk is healthier than cow's milk. The cockroach milk is made, I can't say cockroach, of nutrient-rich milk crystals produced by the Pacific beetle cockroach, which lives alongside Asia's Pacific rim. How to milk a cockroach? How did the researchers...
No, that is not this podcast. This is...
It's a health benefit.
I can just I will be joining all those leaving subscribers of this podcast if we continue. This is just
People are going to be writing in droves saying, tell us how to milk a cockroach. All right. Well, if you want to tune into It's Just Coffee After Dark, I'll be milking a cockroach in the
boy, this is
sealed
bad.
section of this episode. All right. Is that about... I think that's probably wraps us up for the week then.
Definitely all we got time for.
Wait, where is it?
Do you have a cockroach sound?
Well, I mean...
Oh, yeah, it's cockroachy.
That's definitely
the sound of a cockroach being milked.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah. If you have any questions, anything, reach out to hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com. And please share this with a friend that you want to know and you want to tell to milk a cockroach or a camel.
No. Real stories, real things. Please let us know so we don't have to talk about that. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a quick word from one of our sponsors, Apax Lab. Elevate your coffee experience with Apax Lab mineral concentrates. Apax Lab's precision-engineered formulas, including tonic, jam, and lilac, are designed to enhance the coffee's natural flavors. It's not going to change it, it's just going to enhance it. It's going to bring out the vibrant acidity, the rich sweetness, or if you use lilac, it might bring out those delicate floral notes that you've been looking for. Trusted by world-class cafes and even barista champions, Apax Lab helps you unlock your coffee's full potential. Discover more at apaxlab.com. Wait, where was that again, Sonam?
The internet.
Oh, okay. Thought I was going to say the website. Thanks. Today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors at Eco Barista. The reason I sound like this is because
They got massages at our stand at Mice, and so I'm getting a massage while recording this message for you. They're the best sponsor of the pod that we could have had. They have the best eco products. This probably sounds really pornographic, but it's not. I'm just getting a massage. They have the best eco-friendly coffee products. They got coffee bags that you can design yourself. They got cups. They got iced coffee cups. They got everything you need. So make sure to support them because they support us. Head to ecobarista.com.au and get 15% off your first purchase when you sign up. Oh, mama, that's good.